Hi guys, it's Carla.
Okay.
Can you hear me now? Oh,
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'll mute
Thanks.
myself.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for being here. I'm sure you all already had a long day, so I'll try to make this as quick as possible, but we are going to get into a lot of information. And we have it recorded now, so you can always refer back to it. But throughout the season, we'll be sending all updates and reminders on how to do each of these different steps that we'll go over today. But really excited that you all can be here. And I can also share out the slides before the end of the meeting or just share it out in the email that in the same message. Yeah, same message that I sent out earlier today. Um, all right, so we're gonna go over everything that you'll need to do this cookie season. So we have on the call ASLP advisors on Oahu, Maui, Hawaii. And so all of you are supporting a really important part of what it is to be a Girl Scout and being entrepreneurial. So before we get into the content, I'd love to hear from one or two of you. What's one skill that you're excited to see your Girl Scouts grow in this cookie season? Feel free to put it in the chat or unmute yourself.
I've done cookie season a few years ago. Sorry, I'm Kristen also. And I would say it's just really fun to like watch them. But I feel like they become more bonded, like they become like this little pack better. But when we sell the cookies, the girls who are like really shy, they start speaking up a little bit louder. You know, you can hear them from farther away. They're not as shy to approach them people because like their Girl Scout sisters are with them. So it's just really fun to watch them grow in that way.
Yeah, love it. I think someone else is about to talk too.
Oh, yeah, that was me. This is Alicia. I was gonna say kind of like the same thing of them being, coming out of their shell. But then also, as a teacher, just also seeing like their math skills grow with having to count the money and count boxes and, them keeping track of how much they've sold for prizes and stuff. Yes, just math skills, I think, is the teacher in me coming out, the math skills.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing. Anyone else?
This is Carla. I'm going to mirror what the rest of them said as far as like watching them grow and get more vocal, I guess, and becoming, brave and seeing their other friends do that. This will be my daughter's second year doing it, so, and my first year volunteering as a like a troop manager to help out, and so she'll get to see a lot of the back end stuff too, and I think that's also really important for her to like see that, leadership on my part, and then hopefully learn from that and, take that away also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, Marissa here in Kauai. I'm gonna go kind of the opposite end and say that I'm really excited to see the parents get excited and the parents start participating a lot more. Since last cookie season, I have 4 or 5 parents that are consistently helping me that were new parents last year. So I'm excited to see them get excited about the program and get invested. For those of you who don't know, this is my 20th year in the program, and it's my 16th year doing cookies, both as a girl and as a leader. And so I love that transition from kid to adult. So I like to see the adults get excited about it too.
Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, so we always hear these themes of the confidence and the skills, the practical skills that they'll be learning, that independence and responsibility. So I know you'll all see that growth happening in all of your Girl Scouts. So super excited to hear back how it's all going throughout the season and at the end. So this is our agenda for today. We're going to go briefly over the theme, the cookies, rewards, our campaigns. We're actually going to skip over troop roles because you all do a lot of your advisor work for your troop. Some of you have that support with other volunteers. Some of you kind of just do it all. So we'll skip over that, but we can talk a little bit about, what support council can provide to you. We'll be talking about a lot of that throughout the training. And then we're going to jump into really each step of the cookie season. So starting with the pre-sale initial order time, delivery day, cookie booths, what's happening during the sale, engaging your Girl Scouts, and then managing cookie finances. And then I'll make sure to highlight at the end a lot of the resources that we have, which you may already know, but sometimes can get lost because there's just so much information. So we'll touch on that. And then we'll wrap up. We've been able to do this in an hour and a half. So hoping to get you out of here by then, because I know you all have super busy lives. So this is the theme, as you all know, Own Your Magic. It's inspired by the cute little axolotl. The plush this year is super, super cute. She's like really soft and pink and fluffy. So hopefully Girl Scouts will get excited by the Own Your Magic theme to really grow into their own, like we've been talking about, with their confidence and all their entrepreneurial skills. So it'll be a fun theme this year. All right, and then this is our cookie lineup. We have all 9 varieties. There isn't a Raspberry Rally this year. Our baker wants to just focus on the main cookies that the Girl Scouts have been selling. So hopefully everything will go fine with inventory this year. And all cookie packages will remain at $6. And if at any point during the session you have any questions, just feel free to unmute yourself, put in the chat. Anything works. These are our rewards. It's on the rewards order card, as you know. And so as you, if you're new to Girl Scouts and cookies particularly, all Girl Scouts and ASLP troops can earn rewards and cookie doughs should they choose cookie dough. But troops don't receive the troop initial order reward or troop proceeds. So that is the difference between a volunteer-led troop and an ASLP-led troop. And so for our friends on Maui and Kauai, tomorrow it's my priority to send you all of the cookie materials. Hopefully it'll come in time for a last troop meeting before the winter break. So we'll get that to you as soon as possible. So we'll talk about that, all the materials, in just a second. But the rewards card will be a part of all the cookie materials we'll send out to you.
Sorry, this is Alicia again. I just wanted to confirm, I have a lot of girls like amped up and wanting to know exactly how much to sell. The water park on Oahu Day, is that still a prize?
This year we're gonna be at Kualoa Ranch instead.
Okay.
We wanted to change it up. So that's a slide way at the end, but it's cool at Kualoa Ranch. They have the Hollywood tour, so that'll be the morning portion, and then we'll go to Secret Island, do the ceremony, lunch, and then play games and do like stand-up paddle boarding, kayaking, things like that. So it'll be a little different this year.
Okay, yeah. And that's still, I think, like $850.
Yep.
That's wanting to know, because like and one in particular, she keeps asking me like every day how much she needs to sell.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's exciting. Yeah, no worries. And hopefully when they get the rewards card, the order card, they'll get even more excited because they'll like get to see it. And then these are cookie campaigns. We talk about it in the cookie program highlights training in GS Learn. So we won't get too in-depth in it, but just to remind you, I think a lot of your Girl Scouts are all signed up for Cookie University on Saturday, January 6th. We did close registration, so just an FYI. But this year it'll be before the start of the cookie season, which is pretty cool. Before it was like kind of after, so it'll be a nice mix.
Quick
So
question.
Go ahead.
I know that it's Little Brownie Baker's like 50th anniversary with Girl Scouts. Are we doing any campaign with the cookie program regarding that?
We're not in particular. Some guidance from GSUSA is that we actually don't, we're encouraged not to, it's a funny thing, but like we're encouraged not to name the baker specifically, just because it is a GSUSA led program. And that is a part of why we're not going to do anything with that.
Okay.
Yeah. But a kind of different campaign this year that we're going to do is the Gift of Caring Weekend. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. We talk about in the cookie program highlights training, but is around all the troops, if whatever you sell in Gift of Caring packages, council will match the physical inventory. We won't include it in eBuddy. So it won't count towards your troops like sales goals. But it'll be a way for Girl Scouts to have even more cookies to present to their favorite organization. So if your troop hasn't been a part of Gift of Caring and distributing cookies out to organizations or, our local heroes, then definitely feel free to reach out to us to, have your Girl Scouts be a part of that.
Yeah, I know last year a lot of ours went to the Hawai'i Food Bank and then a Maui blood drive that we did. I don't know if those are like outstanding things that we do on Kauai or if we need to find a new one every year.
You could partner with the same organizations. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of troops will go back to their same organizations year after year. Right. Any other questions? Perfect. So these are the cookie selling materials I was talking about. So this kind of top portion, so like things like girl order cards, money envelopes, all of our like one pagers or half sheets. You'll get a copy for one for each Girl Scout. And then we'll give you deposit slips and receipt booklets for all of your documentation. And then you'll get a package of Thin Mints. If you have a big group of Girl Scouts, we'll give you multiple packages. We kind of go by groups of 15. But that'll be part of the package that I send out to you tomorrow for Maui and Kauai. Our Oahu troops, if you can coordinate with Mia on a way to get them either coming to our office or if she's somehow going to be coming your way at any point before winter break, that would be great. That way we can make sure to get it in your hands before school lets out.
So sorry to cut you off. Kauai already got most of these materials. And we picked them up last week when we all met as leaders. What I don't see in the package materials that we have in office are the Own Your Magic worksheet, campaign flyers, and like digital cookie information.
Okay, let me just mail that out to you each separately, just like an envelope.
Sweet.
Okay, great. How about on Maui? Have you all been able to go to the office and pick some things up or not yet? I know, Alicia, you're driving.
Yes, sorry.
I want you to be safe.
Oh, yes. I have been to the office. I did find the box of, or I did see the box of cookies. I'm not sure about the other stuff. We had other inventory that I was doing and just other things that I was doing at the office. So I kind of like set a bunch of stuff aside. So I will have to go back and check that out to confirm what we have.
Okay. You should have you should have the girl order cards, money envelopes, and receipt booklets at least.
We should have plenty of those. I know for sure plenty of the receipt booklet. Money envelopes. And sorry, what was the other one that you said?
The girl order cards.
We should have those, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
And then separately, I'll just mail to each of you the one pagers too.
okay, I can go to the office on Thursday and get you a complete list of what we already have.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, just send me a message.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Excellent.
Oh, hey, this is Genevieve. I
Hi,
have a
yeah.
quick question.
Mhm.
What do we do with the package of Thin Mints? Is that for our girls to try, or what's
Yeah,
that for?
it's for them to try.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I mean, even if you're not meeting and they don't get the materials or what have you, or you didn't bring them, you can always do it once the cookie season starts, because we won't have cookies on island until February anyway. So I can still get them excited whenever you
Okay, great.
them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if you're within 15 Girl Scouts in a troop, one package. If it's 15 to 30, two packages, so on and so forth. So for our Maui and Kauai friends, when you're picking up those packages.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so I know a lot of you have done cookies before, but for our friends who are new to this, there are so many ways that Girl Scouts can sell cookies. So there's door to door, which is more of that like traditional route, going through your neighborhood, talking to your neighbors, asking if they would like cookies. More and more these days, though, we do hear that it's much easier to do that when customers see the cookies in hand. So it could be a really good, once they have cookies, that they're walking around their neighborhood. Same thing with walkabouts. They can fill up a wagon and walk around on their neighborhood or like a beach, as long as they're not like stationed in one area. They can do lemonade stand style. So if it's just the Girl Scout and the caregiver, and they have a property where they can be outside, they're welcome to do that. And then of course through digital cookie, they can text the link or email the link to family and friends. They can create a poster with the QR code. Some Girl Scouts get really crafty and do like a whole car magnet situation. So there's a lot of ways that they can get their digital cookie link out there. And of course, booths as well, which you all help to run, and lots of other ways. The great thing about this is that Girl Scouts get to decide which method works best for them. It's not a one size fits all. So let's say if it's a newer Girl Scout and it seems a little bit overwhelming, they can just choose to participate in the one booth. Or maybe they don't really want to deal with like that in-person stuff, so they just do digital cookie. It's completely up to the Girl Scout. And if families are talking to you about it, that is something that you can encourage them to do, to just start slow, do a little bit at a time, and they can always grow from there. They can always do more. We just don't want them to feel overwhelmed or anything. Any questions from our newer advisors on just kind of general methods of selling cookies? We're going to get into super nitty-gritty details on things like initial order during the cookie season. Alrighty. Sounds good. So I'd love to hear from some of you how you set the tone for the cookie season with your Girl Scouts. So do you have a specific troop meeting on what the cookies are and how to sell cookies? What does that look like for your troop? I'd love to hear from one or two of you on that.
So, for my troop, we're actually having our like in-person parent meeting tomorrow, with our troop meeting. What I like to do when the girls are in attendance and I'm trying to talk to their parents, like of informative, is I usually have a blend of like returning girls so they kind of know what's going on, makes it easy. I have a worksheet of all the cookies so they can color them and identify them. And they usually work on that during downtime. If there is one in theme for the year, I'll find one and have them do that. But we do cookie tastings, and then if they have extra time while I'm still like being informative with their parents, I have them go do a skit of what it looks like to do a Girl Scout cookie booth and then come back in and show their parents.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that touch on both sides with the parents and caregivers and the Girl Scouts. That's really great. Perfect. So yeah, a lot of you have already done it or will do some sort of meeting with Girl Scouts and our families. And that family piece is super important too, because they will need to be able to get their Girl Scout to say a booth and potentially support at the booth as well. So getting them involved is just as important. So I love that you touched on that. And then hopefully the cookie materials will also get them excited about the cookie season, seeing the rewards card and kind of looking at the order card and how they could take orders in person, by hand. So it's a super exciting time. And so before we begin with kind of the material for this training, does anyone have any questions from the cookie program highlights training and GS Learn? I know a bunch of you have already taken it. If you haven't, no worries. Do try to complete it before the beginning of the cookie season, or please complete it before the beginning of the cookie season, because it does go over a lot of the specific information about this year's cookie program. So more about our campaigns, all of our programmatic policies and procedures. And so high level, just want to make sure that you're on the same page about what's expected of Troop cookie managers this coming cookie season. And then of course, at any point, just let us know if you have questions.
Yeah, I have a question, and I don't know if it's covered under the training because I haven't taken this year's, but with Kauai not having an island coordinator, when cookie season comes and we start picking up money, do we have a plan for that is all I ask.
For like depositing the money?
Yeah, I know us as leaders can, but kind of towards the end of the season, like wrapping it up, I don't know. I guess I just like want to make sure we're all squared away on that if anything like terrible happens.
Yeah, in the past, have you all done it yourself? Or was it kind of a mix?
I think it was a mix, depending, because I had some parents who preferred to meet up with Angela, whether that was location or scheduling. So they had somebody else to turn the money in, and they were also like one of those last minute parents that I really don't like. But I don't know. I know when we had options, a lot of people used Angela in the past as like a drop off zone. So
Yeah, I guess Maui I have the same question as like the person who's going to be running the buffer and stuff, and then just for my troop as well.
Yeah, I mean, the ideal scenario is we have a coordinator by then. What some Girl Scouts do on Oahu is they'll actually bring the money to the troop meeting. And if that's something you're comfortable with, that's something that I would recommend so that you all can do the deposits. Because just in case there's not a coordinator at the time, then that way we can guarantee that there's still a way for them to get the money to you. We will definitely want to talk as we get closer though, because I want to make sure that things don't get lost, as money's getting moved from hand to hand. But that's something that I would recommend while we don't have a coordinator. But if we do have a coordinator by that point, then we can set it up in a similar way, where, families can know that the coordinator is available. And they could just coordinate on a day and time for drop off. Sorry, that's a vague answer to a vague scenario right now. But let's definitely talk as we get closer. All right, so we're going to get into eBuddy. I know a lot of advisors in the past have used eBuddy themselves, but we've kind of been a mix on Oahu. So this year I want to make sure that everyone does use eBuddy just as their main database point for all things cookies. So for those of you who don't know, eBuddy is what we use to manage cookie inventory, finances, signing up for booths, pretty much everything cookie related. Most of you should have access to eBuddy already. There might be a couple of you who don't yet, so we can connect offline. But there's a few things that we want to make sure we're looking at when we get access and log into our eBuddy account. So that's your Girl Scout roster, your leader roster, which for some of you doesn't really apply so much, your troop goal in the settings tab, and then your dashboard. So we'll kind of get into it right now. So when you log into eBuddy, this is basically what your dashboard will look like. So you'll see some of the bar graphs and some information. So the most important thing that you want to do is look at the girls tab. So that's under this girls right here. Your view will look slightly different, but you'll still see the same basic information of the girl's name, their GSUSA ID, and then their parent, their caregiver email. You do need to make sure that the Girl Scout has the caregiver has an actual email in order to get digital cookie access. Sometimes Girl Scouts in really any troop, they might have like a @no-email. That's most likely like not a legitimate email. So if they want to use digital cookie, we're gonna have to input a real email for them. And that will then prompt digital cookie to send them the registration link. So without the legitimate email, they're not going to get the registration link to set up digital cookie and then be able to use it. If there's anyone in your roster who's not supposed to be there, let me know right away. That way we can move them to the correct troop. For the most part, ASLP troops are pretty accurate. So hopefully there shouldn't be issues. But if there is, just let me know. And then for those of you who manage multiple manage multiple troops at the same site, we've combined them it's like the lowest numeral troop number of that set of troops, if that makes sense. So if you have like 4021, 4022, 4023, the troop will most likely be combined into 4021 and everyone will be in that troop page. So just something to keep in mind. The other thing is the contacts tab. Robin, let's connect after the training if you can just stay on after. Okay, great. The contacts tab should most likely just be you. I know some of you have extra volunteers, so if they're not in eBuddy yet, just let me know and we can add them in. I'll probably be able to get to it end of this week or early next week. The nice thing about the contacts tab is, let's say you don't have one way that you communicate to parents and caregivers at the same time, but you want to send an email blast out about some cookie update. You can click under the contacts tab, email caregivers, put in the subject, your message. You can upload a file, and then you'll be able to select which of the parents you want to send this email to. And then you would just send the email. This is something that we use at council a lot. So like in the last few years when there's a lot of like inventory things that were happening and we just needed everyone to get the message at one time, we sent the email through eBuddy. The only thing is parents wouldn't have a way to respond back to it because it's a no response email. So they would have to contact you directly separately. But it still could be a good tool if something's happening, that you need to get the message out urgently. And then under the settings tab, you all don't have troop bank accounts, but you can include what your package goal is. So you would just click edit, and then you include what your troop's package goal is. And this can help you to monitor if your troop is, kind of working its way towards that goal. But I know for a lot of you, it really will be an individual Girl Scout sales goal that they'll want to see. You might be able to actually include what their sales goals are under the girls tab. So that's something I think you'll be able to edit actually. If Delia wants to sell 1,000 packages, then you can include it in there. And then the dashboard tab, I want to just point out, might not be that helpful for some of you, but it could be a helpful tool if you just want to see, you know, what your troops initial order was the year prior and then what the additional orders were. So you're going to start to see once we're in the cookie season and starting, you know, starting to input data into eBuddy. We have the initial order section, the additional order section. If your troop participated in cookies last year, there would be a green bar for the initial orders, blue for this. Same with additional orders. Additional orders are any extra cookies that you pick up from the buffer, or some of our traditional troops also do exchanges with one another. So same thing, there would be a green bar for previous year data and then blue bar for this year's data. And then you can see at the bottom here too, how close you are to submitting all the rewards. So I think this updates for initial order rewards, but also for final rewards. So this will help to get, it's a good mental checklist to make sure you're submitting everything that you need to. So that's kind of just the basic overview of once you get into eBuddy. Any questions on that? Pretty basic, okay. So then Cookie Go Day is January 8th, yay, hurrah, super exciting. So the initial order period is from January 8th to the 23rd. Girl Scouts start pre-selling Girl Scout cookies. So for those of you who haven't done this before, we don't have cookies on island until the 3rd week of February. So this is Girl Scouts just taking pre-orders from friends, family, so on and so forth, so that they can have that inventory. And then once they get it, they can then give it to their customers. Customers get excited once Girl Scouts start asking them about if they'd like to place a pre-sale order. And then all troops are going to submit their initial order by January 25th. The Girl Scout initial order reward is our cookie seller t-shirt, super, super cute. And it's if Girl Scouts sell 250 packages or more during that pre-sale period. And eBuddy does all that math for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But that is the goal to earn that initial order reward. Also, side note, the rewards card will include the troop initial order, but like I mentioned earlier, ASLP troops don't receive that troop initial order. So for those of you who have done cookies before, do you have any tips or tricks on submitting your troops initial order for those who are newer? Like collecting that information from families, things like that?
So
oh, sorry, go ahead.
whoever, it's fine. So my troop has like a separate app for communication. It's not just text. And I try and get them amped up like right now as far as cookies. And I start posting, like, I follow Girl Scouts on Facebook and they post like history and stuff. So I'm already getting that in their like routine of knowing. So that way when cookies come, when I'm on their butts, like, hey, this needs to be in. I usually do it like a day earlier. So like if council says it's due the 25th, I'll tell parents it's due the 24th. Like they don't even need to know the last day.
Mm-hmm.
And that way it gives me 24 hours and it's also giving them the opportunity to like think about it more ahead of time.
Yeah, that's great. You're already getting in their heads that it's a big deal. It's super fun, but also when you're communicating out, you know, we need this information, they can respond back right away. That's awesome. And I think I have a little bit more on initial orders later, but Marissa brings up a really good point that technically we say that Girl Scouts initial order is from the 8th to 23rd. That way you have that 2-day grace period to make sure you're collecting all that information from families within that time frame to then, you know, submit it in eBuddy by the 25th. Because our deadline is a pretty hard deadline for January 25th, 11:59 p.m. Because then we have to do our whole process reviewing all of our troops' initial orders. Okay, so This may be new to some of our advisors in terms of actually inputting data into eBuddy. So it's really going to start from the initial order period. So we'll go over how to submit your troops initial order. So you would just go to the initial order tab up here at the top. And then you'll see all of your Girl Scouts listed. You see each of the flavors, so by variety, and then each of the quantities for their initial order. To input a Girl Scouts initial order, you just click on her name, and then you just input by package how much they've ordered. Please only make sure you're including the paper order card totals, not girl delivery or ship totals. Those automatically flow from Digital Cookie. But this is these are all the totals that they've collected from their paper order card. So by doing it, you know, with their family and friends in person. So you can just update the totals here. Blah, blah, blah. Great. This is our initial order. And then we go to click save.
Oh, can I ask a question, Genevieve?
Yes. Yeah.
What is the difference between the initial order and girl delivery?
Girl delivery is a digital cookie option for customers. So
Okay.
yeah, so girl delivery is when the customer chooses girl delivery. That's saying that the customer wants the Girl Scout to deliver the cookies to them. Girl delivery will be an option during initial order. The Girl Scout just won't be able to fulfill that order until they have, you know, cookies in hand.
Okay, so those are orders through Digital Cookie.
Digital Cookie, exactly.
Okay, so those will be counted automatically. Okay,
Yep,
got it.
exactly. So one new thing this year that you all are going to see is parents this year are going to have the option to input their paper order card totals on Digital Cookie. So in Digital Cookie, there's a My Cookies tab, and I'll show you what the view looks like later. But it's a My Cookies tab, and then they'll have the ability to input what their paper order card totals were. So you're going to see that number it'll be like kind of in the gray, PIO equals, and then this is telling you what the parent initial order was per variety. And then we'll see something like this. So this is just like a demo kind of mock view, but you'll see something like this use parents that when you click the button, it'll automatically distribute what the parent inputted on their side in Digital Cookie. You'll always have the ability to override that total that you use from the parent's initial order. But it's still the grayed out is still going to be a good reference to know what the parent inputted. So if a parent later on, maybe a day later says, oh my gosh, sorry, like we actually need 5 Thin Mints, not 15, then you can update that and then just make sure to save it. So if your parents do end up using, or your Girl Scouts end up using Digital Cookie, and you want a newer, updated way of collecting their initial orders, you can show them that this is an option. And then one other thing is, and I know in the past it's kind of been a mix for ASLP troops, whether they input booth cookies or not. I would propose this year, no ASLP troop includes booth cookies in their totals. And instead, council will make sure that there's a healthy order for ASLP troops for their booths. And then we can order that with the entire buffer order. That way we can make sure that inventory is accurate. I don't know if anyone, particularly Maui and Kauai, I don't know if anyone's opposed to that. I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah. Wait, yeah, sorry. So I just want to make sure I understood that correctly. So, because for the last 6 years, I've only ever inputted my troop initial order.
Girl Scouts?
Like, I don't have girls give me an initial order because that's just, they don't my families just don't do that. Like, we only do cookie booths. So I only order a troop initial order. So is that what you're saying don't do?
We can talk about it. So because I know for you all, right, you kept the cookies at the office anyway.
Yeah, so Sam and I both.
Yeah. So because of that, I would recommend that the cookies, that the booth cookies for your troops are included in our buffer order. Because sometimes what happens is the inventory can get really wonky if the troop has booth cookies in their inventory and then cookies kind of go everywhere, but rather being super intentional about doing that, placing an order with the buffer order, but just knowing that X amount of each flavor will go towards your troop and Sam's troop.
Can we talk about that further after then?
Yeah, that's fine. That's why I mentioned it now, because we have enough time
Okay.
to figure it out. Yep. I know
Okay,
that's what
thank
we're
you.
gonna do for Oahu, because last year it got super crazy. And then Kauai, I'm open to whatever you all want to do.
Okay, so this might be like way too in depth as I like think about this in my head because I've
Mhm.
been already thinking about this.
Yeah,
Um,
me too. That's why I want to talk about it.
so my girls have already set a goal that they want to take whatever goal we did last year. So I have to come up with that number and bring it back to them tomorrow. And they want to build upon that reasonably. I'm going to kind of rein them in with whatever goal they want to increase on that. Because last year we did 5,500 as a troop of, I think, 28 or 27 that sold cookies. I only have 21 this year, so I'm being humble. I don't think we're gonna sell quite as many. So for me, I did order for my troop on the initial order based on my experience, and I still had to go back to the buffer 3 times during the season to pick up more.
Mhm.
I probably did turn stuff in, but it wasn't more than 6 or 7 cases of a variety of cookies.
Mhm.
So I guess I don't mind not picking up a bigger troop initial order, but
Mhm.
what I would like to do is have enough to cover the first cookie booth that we're doing, and then
Mhm.
I can go to the office whenever to pick up any more we may need. Is that,
Mhm.
but that all of that I would still want to give to you, and we're putting that in your guys's buffer inventory. Is that what you're saying? Is that we got to let you know so you have those numbers?
Yeah, basically, and also, and I guess this is where like logistics come into play is whether
Yeah.
or not you do end up coming back to the buffer. Because I know, so for as an example, on Oahu, for the most part, advisors don't keep extra cookies at their house. They will actually come to the buffer for when they have their booth or if they need extra cookies. But Oahu ASLP works a little bit different, where like Girl Scouts can come pick up their own individual orders.
Yeah, and if we had a coordinator, when we have a coordinator in there, I'm sure that would be reasonable and we can do that. But whereas we're planning for not, um, I have a space. I also have volunteers that say that they have space that are registered volunteers. Um, so that's the space is not a worry for
Mhm.
our troop to store things.
Okay. So it sounds like it might make sense for Maui and Kauai to have your own initial order. Um, it, depending. So we can do it case by case basis,
Yeah.
really. Because either way it goes to almost the same place. The only difference is if you're submitting an initial order, those cookies are gonna go to delivery day. And they're
Yes.
gonna go to the delivery day pickup. And then if you're not putting an initial order, but if, let's say, we place the initial order, including it in our buffer order, then it'll just go to the service center. And they'll just live in the service center. And then we can make sure when the cookies are there at the service center, that we siphon it off and have a really clear marker for like, these are ASLP cookies. And they
Okay.
should be touched.
I know Kauai, we're limited on space for that. So, I just know my troop can handle it, but I also am being reasonable and not like having us stuck with a lot of extra cookies because
Mhm.
math was, numbers sometime.
Mhm.
So I understand that that's what we're trying to prevent is like an excess of leftover cookies as well.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm like, I don't know if I need to put in more than what you guys already do as a buffer,
Mhm.
other than like
Like,
the initial cookie booth. Cause it's just timing and scheduling getting out to the office for us. Sometimes I can't get it the day of a cookie booth.
right. Yeah. So let's say we can keep it open to what works best for your troop. And just making sure that I would say like the start of January, really, we can connect individually to see what makes the most sense for you all. Because I personally don't know like what your living situations are in terms of like how much space you have, and things like that. But on Oahu, we do keep all of the extra cookies for the troop, whether it's for a booth or for when Girl Scouts have their individual orders. We hold all of those at the buffer. So if that could work for your troop, we can mimic that. If that doesn't work for your troop, then we'll just do what works best for you. I just want to make it as easy as possible for you all this year. Given even when we do have a coordinator, they'll be new too. So that's what we'll try to do. So does that sound good? I'll make a point to reach out to you individually and we can set up like a 15 to 20-minute call. Kind of feel out how initial orders are going. If you don't have, whatever the case is, we can tailor it to fit your needs. All right, perfect. Love it. And then just to be super clear for Oahu troops, Girl Scouts can still submit their initial order to you. You'll input it into eBuddy, but you're not going to include booth cookies. We're going to do that extra order for you, and all of those cookies will stay at the buffer. That's how Oahu has worked in the past and will continue doing. Okay, so a few notes to keep in mind. So again, initial orders that you're inputting should only include the totals from the Girl Scout paper order card. Do not include girl delivery or ship totals. For Oahu in particular, council will order your troops booth cookies. We'll keep it at the buffer. And then for Kauai and Maui, kind of disregard what this says, but generally, whatever your initial order is, you'll come to pick it up at delivery day. And then whatever leftover cookies you can use at the booths, as most of you know. Okay, any questions about initial order? Okay, sounds good. All right, so initial orders get submitted on January 25th. Girl Scouts are getting super excited for cookies to finally arrive on island. And then they'll be here the 3rd week of February. So this is where I'm glad we're in this space right now to talk about it. So for Kauai and Maui, we did move the delivery day to Tuesday, February 20th. That way, one of our staff members can be at each of your delivery days. Do we have a consensus on the delivery day? We'll have the same schedule as last year. I think it was 12 to 4. If that works, then that would be fantastic. If it doesn't work, then we would have your cookies delivered straight to the service center. And this is really important for us to know, because it will change the way we place the order. There's like a whole area hierarchy that we need to make sure we're following. But does that work for all Maui and Kauai people?
Wait, sorry. So delivery day is the 20th, but then at the bottom it says delivery day slots. Oh, it open.
Anybody, yeah, anybody to select
Got
your.
it.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
You're good. No worries, you're good. Does that work for our Kauai and Maui friends?
Yes, I think that should work.
Perfect. So whatever initial order you end up submitting, that's what you'll be picking up at delivery day. And I don't know if I just totally don't know, but did you all just pick up in cases? I assume so, because I feel like it'd be a little crazy. Like you didn't pick up the actual like total number of packages, you just picked up in the cases and then had the
No.
leftovers.
There was like cases plus like individual packages. It was like, oh, here's a box of Samoas and 5 more like individual boxes.
Yeah.
Is how we
I
would.
know yours was a little bit hectic because you were picking up for everyone on that Saturday, right?
It's gonna end up happening again. And I was thinking the same with like we usually do the first cookie booth, which is like that next weekend, like right there after,
Yeah.
and I don't want to drive back down. It's like an hour away for
Yeah.
like next day to come pick them up again. So I don't know. I'll talk to you later about that.
Yeah.
But
For yours, let's make sure to like super coordinate and know what you need.
I'm just really gonna try and push digital cookie like all the way.
Yeah, ship
it.
it. Yep.
Nothing else is allowed.
Okay, great. So we'll keep Kauai and Maui so you all can plan to be there on the 20th. And then so for all of you, you will be able to pick your delivery day slot. So the time that you want to come pick up your cookies on January 26th at 6 p.m. So that's when the slots open up to you all to choose, you know, when you're coming. And then yep.
Sorry. Do we have a location yet for Maui delivery day?
So with the same location as last year, they told me I have to reach back out next month.
To the mall.
Yeah, that parking structure.
Okay. Got it.
Yep. I hopefully by that first week we're back from break, I will know. And then
Okay.
and then for Maui and Kauai advisors, if you are available during that day, I know most of you work, but if you are available, we would greatly appreciate your help, especially in the morning, to offload the cookies. So if you're free, just let me know, shoot me an email. That way we can include you in the planning, and let you know what time to be there.
Yeah, that was my question, is what time? Because I can plan on being there for the 12 to 4.
Right.
I know our time slots are usually like smaller than that, but that was not the case for my troop last year. So I was basically there all day. So
Yeah, we're asking folks to help kind of like starting in the morning and then all the way through 4. So if you're able to be there from 12 to 4 when troops are coming by, that would be super helpful.
yeah, just depending on how early it is, I don't mind because I can make work arrangements this far in advance. And depending on where the initial like pickup is and when you're dropping all of that, yeah, we can
I
communicate.
think the drop off is at like 9 a.m.
Okay.
offloading the cookies, but I'll send that out to you all. And I already have like a sign up created, so I'll share that with you like by island too. Because we're hopefully we can like share it out with like different like community groups and stuff. We're gonna try to get a lot of help. And then for Oahu, we're gonna keep it the same as last year. So we're gonna do it on that Saturday. It's February 24th. We're gonna send out the same form like we did last year, where Girl Scouts are gonna select what time they want to come to pick up their individual orders. So we'll make sure to share that in advance. And then you'll be able to come by to pick up your booth cookies as well. If you're doing it for that, you know, that weekend or that next weekend, you can swing by and pick up booth cookies. And like I mentioned, for Oahu, we are going to place the initial order for your booth, booth cookies. And we'll just make sure to order enough for every booth that you have signed up for. Okay, so for our Kauai and Maui friends, when you go to select your delivery day slot on January 26th, you're just going to go to the delivery tab. You'll be assigned to your deliveries, whatchamacallit, your delivery location. On Kauai, it's the Veterans Hall, again. Sorry, I don't know why this is not giving me the view that I want. Okay, sorry, one second. Okay, so you go to your delivery tab, it gives you the overview of the varieties. If someone from your troop is picking up or someone other than your troop, and if you're picking up from more than one troop. And then you select the location, and then it gives you all of the time slots. So a lot of our delivery locations will have multiple lines. So if that is the case, you would be able to click the arrow button to see if there's availability in that next line for that same time that you want. Otherwise, you just populate your troop number and the time that you would like to secure. And then you just go to click submit. And then just to have the information handy, either click view confirmation. It did give me an email, view confirmation. And then you can email it to yourself or print it out. I would recommend just having this handy, just so that, you know, we all are on the same page about the information that you need. Alrighty. And then cookie booths. When we're going through all the information, last year, nearly 50% of our council cookies were sold through cookie booths, which is interesting. And so we're very booth heavy council. And then in 2023, there were over 3,000 booth slots available. And we're working every day right now to make sure that we have the booths that you'd like. And if you do have booths that you didn't see last year, please let us know, because now is the time that we're working to secure the booths. Our coordinator, Brianne, she works really hard to get the ones that everyone wants to be at. So please let us know.
Do we know if Target Kauai was on our list last year? I can't remember, to be honest.
Target has it's kind of like a non-solicitation, like no fundraising.
Oh,
policy.
boo-hoo.
Yeah, I know, I wish. Same with like Longs or CVS, like on their in front of their property.
Could we do places like Home Depot or like AutoZone? I don't know. We have like random places that we could go to. I would say Costco, but that's like a crazy parking lot. I don't want to take the kids to.
Costco's the same, no fundraising.
Okay.
But if you have a list of them and like the general location, can you send me an email?
Yeah, for sure. I have a list of email notes to you.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
Are we able to do booths at farmers markets?
Yes, yeah, for sure. You can either do it as a troop secured booth, or if you'd like to share the love, you can let us know which farmers market and we can secure it as a troop secured booth. Yeah, we do have a few on Oahu and Hawaii Island. We did a few farmers markets last year and years prior. Okay, so our booth slot preview is on Monday, January 15th. Traditional volunteer-led troops do go through the whole booth lottery, and it's really crazy because they just kind of go, they have like 5 different volunteers going in at once and securing booths. But what I would like to ask you all to do is on Monday, the 5th, January 15th, review the booths and let me know which ones you want to secure, because we can do that on the back end. And that way we can do our best to prioritize your troops securing that slot. I don't know how Neighbor Island coordinators have done it in the past, but we actually coordinate with Mia on securing specific booths for each of her troops so that every troop can do at least one booth. So that if that works for you, I would like to do that same thing for Maui and Kauai, so that before the booth lottery opens up to everyone else, your troops are already in there for the booths that you know you'll be available. It works for your girls, things like that.
So that's not January 15th. What day was that?
January 15th is the preview.
Okay.
That's when you can just view the booths that will be available. So you can basically just go through all the booths by location, and then just let me know, these are the booths, specific day and time that you want to secure. So I'll send a reminder out for this, but if that works for you, I'd love to do this. That way you have peace of mind and don't have to like go through the crazy lottery situation.
That would be helpful. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. I'm like, all these things I need to make sure I connect with you all about. Okay. So we'll do the initial booth securing on the back end for you. But if you're going through the season and let's say your group of Girl Scouts is like, I want to do more booths, and you just want to go into eBuddy on your own and secure booths, all you need to do is go under the booth sales section, choose sign up for a council booth. So these are all the booths that we secure here at council and open up to all the troops. It'll give you the list view by city. And then you choose the store, and then anything available is in green. If it's not available, then you'll see it in gray. So other troops have already secured that. So I want to do this one. You click on it, and then again, you just populate your troop into the line. If a troop has already secured that, you can always click the email me if slot opens up. It's basically like a wait list, so that if a troop does release that booth, eBuddy will send an email to all the people on that wait list, letting you know that booth is now available. And it's always a first come, first serve basis. So you can go back into the system, hopefully you're first, and then secure that booth if it works for you. And then you just click submit. Let's say your school or something like that offers your troop to have a booth there, and you would consider that a troop secured booth. In order to add that information into eBuddy, you click add/edit a troop booth, plus add, and then you just include all the relevant information. This approval status will automatically be be under pending. Because council does need to approve any troop secured booth. Give us a few days, like 2 to 3 days, to actually approve it. We most likely will, but we just need to make sure that there's no competing booth nearby or it's not at a council secured location. And then you would just click save. And then one other thing that can be really handy for you all, especially to record how many cookies were sold at the booth and things like that. Once the booth has passed, you can record the sale. Just click into record sale. And then you put in the total packages per variety that were sold. And then you go to distribute. And then you can either, let's say only Becky, Pam, and Sally were there. So I just select each of their names, check them off, and then go to distribute. And then it evenly distributes amongst the 3 Girl Scouts. You also have the option to modify it. So you just click the caret next to their name. And then you can change the totals for each Girl Scout. Sometimes troops will do, different totals based on hours worked. But if you just want to evenly distribute, you can just go ahead and do that with the distribute button and then click save. Great. And then I'm trying to see what else. I think that's mainly it. And then please do make sure that you're releasing booth slots within 48 hours in advance. You don't need my permission to release a booth slot. If something happens, you can't make it, you get sick, something like that. Please make sure that you're releasing it. That way another troop can pick it up. But also we have, and through GSUSA, there's the cookie booth finder. And if a troop has secured the slot and it's in eBuddy, customers will see that a troop is supposed to be at that booth. go there, and if a troop's not there because they had to cancel last minute and didn't release it in eBuddy, then the customer will be super disappointed. And that has happened in the past. So for whatever reason you can't make it to the booth or don't have enough adults, please make sure to release it under that booth sales section. We open up the troop secured booth request starting January 22nd. So troops set up the paperwork. You have to secure all the paperwork with that location, but we can administer the COI, the certificate of insurance. You do need to make sure that booths have a minimum of 2 adults and 2 Girl Scouts. And one of the adults must be registered screen member. So that's you all. Again, Girl Scouts can do the My Family one-on-one booths and have their one parent or caregiver with them. And then again, just always coordinate with us when you need more cookies. We're gonna figure it out on Maui and Kauai. But for Oahu, we do have our standard schedule, which we'll share out as we get closer. Okay, and I don't know if you all have seen the volunteer cookie manual. A lot of it applies to you all, so I'll make sure to send it out in an email, and I'll also show you where it lives on the website. But it includes a lot of information on booths as well. Especially if you're new, yeah, it can be helpful. Okay,
I got a question.
Yeah,
Sorry.
come on.
What if I wanted to just like put up a stand in my house? That would be the one parent plus one Girl Scout situation, so I don't have to submit any paperwork for that. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now, what if my neighbor who's a Girl Scout, what if she comes into the mix? Does it suddenly change?
If she's a Girl Scout?
Yeah.
You can do that. You do want to make sure that you have that adult to Girl Scout ratio. The only thing that can be tricky is if they're not in the same troop. So it then becomes an inventory, not issue, but we would just have to be mindful of where that inventory is coming from.
What's the ratio that you mentioned?
2 adults and 2 Girl Scouts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
2 unrelated adults. Is that right?
2 unrelated. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna move us along. So we're gonna talk about digital cookie, kind of shift gears for a second because Girl Scouts will be using digital cookie throughout this season. It does vary, I see, amongst ASLP Girl Scouts, but either way, a lot of them do like to use it, and there are some enhancements as well. So just some reminders, and for those of you who are new, just kind of wanted to go over the super basics of digital cookie. But the registration link is going to get sent to families on December 13th, so that is tomorrow. The link expires 3 days after they get the email. So tomorrow's Wednesday. If they try to log in on like Sunday or Monday, they'll see that the registration link's expired. So they can just let the council cookie team know, cookies@gshawaii.org, and we can resend the registration link. We get lots of requests all the time, so it's not a problem. But if you are going to encourage your Girl Scouts to use digital cookie this year, just make sure that they're prioritizing setting that up. In hand, girl delivery and shipped will all be available. So shipped will be available at the start of the cookie season. We don't anticipate any challenges with that. But only shipped and girl delivery are available during initial order. So the in hand won't be an option because in hand is the Girl Scouts selling the cookies like right then and there, and then they process that transaction and they hand the cookies over. So that's why shipped and girl delivery are the only options during initial order. Please encourage your families to join the Thursday Family Cookie Program overview at 5:30 p.m. That can be another thing that I include in my email to you all with resources. Let me make sure to remember that. So it's just going to be a really high level overview of like the rewards, the cookies, how to set up digital cookie, like what it can do, things like that. Just so that they are a little bit more familiar in case they're not getting their own, troop family meeting. And then families can always sign up for office hours with the council cookie team. We have the office hours link available. It always goes out in our cookie bites. But if they want that extra one-on-one support, we're more than happy to meet with them. It's primarily for volunteers, but I always love meeting with families. So feel free to send them that link if they're having issues or you don't have time to help them. We're always happy to step in. Okay, so some digital cookie enhancements, because I know we talk a little bit about it in the cookie program highlights, so kind of want to go over what's new. On the left-hand side, you'll see this new cheers thing. So this is a new feature that Girl Scouts are going to see on their dashboards once they log into Digital Cookie. So they'll be able to view their cheers from their dashboard directly. There's also going to be a My Cheers tab in Digital Cookie. And it's mainly within the troop. So Girl Scouts can send it from Girl Scout to Girl Scout in the same troop, volunteer to Girl Scout in the same troop, and customers can also send it to Girl Scouts, but they won't be able to return the cheer. But hopefully it'll get them excited and keep them, motivated to keep going this cookie season. It's like pre-populated messages and little images, but I think it's going to be a cute new feature. On the right-hand side, you'll see where we have the initial order entry. So there's going to be a My Cookies tab, and in it during the initial order period, this is where families are going to get to include the totals per variety from their paper order card. So it's kind of small here, but it's going to have a lot of text around using your paper order card, enter the number of cookie packages you're requesting from the troop. So it's a lot of reminders of please make sure you're only including paper order card totals. Don't include totals from girl delivery or shipped. And then once they're all ready to go, they can submit to troop volunteer. So this is what the parents' view will look like when they go to submit the parent initial order through Digital Cookie. And then most of you probably know this who've done Digital Cookie before, but just as a reminder and refresher, there is a mobile app for Digital Cookie. This mainly just processes transactions. So when they get the registration link tomorrow, they're gonna set up the account through a web browser, but then using the same login information, they can log into the Digital Cookie mobile app. You can find it through your app store on your phone. So let's say the Girl Scout wants to process a new order. They just click new order. Step 2, they add in all the totals by variety. Then they go to check out, giving them the option to give cookies to customer now, deliver in person later, or ship cookies to customer. So they select one of the options, put in the customer information. They don't need too much, just mainly a way to get in touch. But if it's girl delivery, of course, their address. And then they can input the credit card information or scan the card, and then it reads I forget what it's called, but it reads the card number and it inputs it in. Another cool feature is from the dashboard on the mobile app, they can email the customer their site. So they click on email my site, and then jumping to step 6, they input the customer's information, sending that customer their Digital Cookie link. So let's say they want to make a future order, they can always have that girl's Digital Cookie link handy. And then of course, for obvious safety, privacy reasons, please remind Girl Scouts that they shouldn't be handing the customer their phone if they're using the mobile app to process an order. They're strangers, we don't know them. So the Girl Scouts should be the one inputting the information. And then if your troop ends up setting up the troop link, I'm not sure how many of you actually ended up have done that in the past. I know only a few Oahu troops did last year. But if you do end up setting the troop link up, it'll be the same process through the mobile app of checking the customer out. But then this year you should be able to see if you sold the cookie, if the Girl Scout or the troop sold the cookies at the booth, you should be able to select that booth that you sold the cookies at. And so that's how eBuddy and Digital Cookie are talking to each other about booths. saying that you've signed up for this booth. Did you sell cookies at this one?
So, sorry, really quick
No.
question about that. I did a Troop account last year because I chose not to opt into Square. Square payment at cookie booths is still going to be an option this year.
It is. Yep. We're going to
Okay.
send out the form sometime in January.
Okay, because I opted out of not doing that to just get familiar with Digital Cookie, and oh, was I wrong? Was I so wrong?
I know. I hear that a lot. It can be slow. It's a slow process. But yeah, Square isn't going to be an option as well. And then on the right hand side, you see our heat map. So anytime a troop sets up their digital cookie link, we add the link on our heat map, and it's just one other way that customers can connect with their local troops. Okay, one more thing on enhancements. This is the customer view this year. So when the customer checks out through a web browser, so let's say they get emailed a digital cookie link, they click on the link and they do their own transaction. They'll now see the option to pay with PayPal or Venmo. It's really just another way that the money gets processed. They won't have the option to pay through Venmo if they're doing a transaction on the mobile app. But if they're doing the transaction on their own side, they'll be able to connect their links this way. So the Venmo option is only if they're checking out themselves.
So when you say that, do you mean not on the app and only through like an email or text message link?
Yep, exactly. Yep. Any questions on that? This is a view that only customers will see if they get a digital cookie link and
If
check it
you,
out on their own.
if we make like a cute, like the troop signs up for digital cookie and there's a QR code, if they were to like scan the QR code to buy cookies, it would take them to like, I guess, like this type of page.
Yep.
But Venmo would not be an option, you're saying? Did I follow that right?
Venmo won't be an option if you're processing the customer's order through the mobile app. So like
Through the mobile app.
Yeah. So like how sometimes troops have like the mobile app set up for, like their booths. And we're like, okay, like, input all your information.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to pay through Venmo that way because it's like your phone. You know what I mean?
Okay, but if we put like our digital cookie QR code up at the booth, because like a lot of people like want to play with Venmo and they're like, oh, or can I just like order them? And I'm like, So if they could scan the QR code at the booth, would they be able to pay on their phone and then do like in hand and be like, hey, look, I just paid here, and you can give them their cookies? Would that work?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks.
So that would, so the QR code is sorry. No, I just want to be very, very clear because this is exciting. So a QR code at the booth would give them this same page.
Yes, because it's gonna bring them to a web browser. They'll bring them to like Safari or Chrome. Yeah.
Opened a world of opportunities. Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully. I think it'll open up options. I want to be honest, I don't know exactly how it connects to Venmo. I don't know if it's exactly the same as how we do like sharing money or sending money to someone, but it is still connected to their Venmo account. But it's just going to be another way that they can, an option to be able to pay. But only through their own web browser. Sorry.
Are the QR codes troop specific or girl specific?
So a Girl Scout will have her own QR code, and there's an option to view that on the dashboard once they're logged into Digital Cookie. And then the troop link also will have a QR code. I've heard that the QR code that Digital Cookie generates isn't always the best. So there's a lot of free like websites that generate QR codes. So you can always do that too using the Digital Cookie link. And like the Digital Cookie link is always on like the main dashboard page when you log in. you'll see a section where it like has that link.
Question. Going back to Square, last year we, as the troop advisor, the person who had the Square on their phone, were only able to see the last 5 transactions, and we weren't able to see like the full day's transactions. Is that going to be the same thing this year?
We're gonna have to see. That was a new that was like a new user view last year that like got changed on us. So if it is the same thing, we're gonna do the same process of sending troops the report, but we'll upload the payment into eBuddy.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to see, sadly.
Okay. No
Yeah.
problem.
Okay. And then last thing is on the right-hand side, your customers are going to see this kind of disclaimer just saying you're giving us permission to make any kinds of like substitutions. Because for those of you who were here last year, the tagalongs were substituted with peanut butter patties, and then GSUSA had to reach out to every single customer about it. So instead of doing that, they're just kind of putting this in there. Now, we're not expecting any inventory issues. Knock on wood, there's nothing like that to be expected. But GSUSA does have that in here, in case, anyone asks about it or notices that. Okay, so these are digital cookie resources. So we have tip sheets all on our website, as well as a YouTube playlist. So I'll kind of just like compile all of these resources and share it with you all in an email. And then we originally had our digital cookie lab and learn on Oahu in person, but this year it's virtual, or now it's virtual because they don't have a lot of signups. But just more the same, like if a family wants to set up an individual meeting to set up digital cookie, feel free to have them connect with Cookies or even myself. Always happy to support them through that. But if anyone would like to still sign up, they're more than welcome to sign up for a session. And then I'm just doing Zoom like screen share with families who have already signed up. Alrighty, we're almost there. Thanks for sticking with it. Oh no, the lab and learn is just for parents. If they want to sign up, they can sign up for a time slot, and then we'll help them set up digital cookie. But it's all virtual now, so it's just me helping them. Okay, so we're gonna talk a little bit about now how to manage inventory within eBuddy. So anytime, let's say a Girl Scout needs to get extra cookies from you during the regular cookie sale, you're always going to have to input that order under the Girl Orders tab, as well as writing the receipt book. So anything in your receipt book should ideally match what's in the Girl Orders tab. So we would click Girl Orders, and let's say, once this loads, no, give me a second. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's say Becky comes to me and they're like, I need 5 more Thin Mints for my digital cookie girl delivery order. You would just click plus order. You may want to write some comment that's helpful. So let's say they come to pick it up from me on the 25th. You put in the total by package or whatever it is, put it in. And then if they did pay, give you money at the same time, you could include it there. And then you would just click save. And then if they just gave you money, you would click plus pay, put in a comment. Ideally, there should be a receipt that matches that payment. They gave it to me on 3/1. And then they gave me 32. This view just looks weird because it's a demo. But then you click plus save. You probably saw too that, oops, sorry, not that one. You probably saw too that there's like this DOC button and this booth button. The DOC is if you can mark it as for if it was I think if it was a digital cookie order, or if they did their own booth. Last year there was an INV button, and that's inventory, meaning that the parent can see all of like, not the transactions themselves, but it accumulates into like one total sum for them to see in digital cookie. So they get to see total how many cookies they've taken out by variety, and how much from all of what they've paid, what they owe. So that could be a helpful tool if the parents are really using digital cookie to keep track of what's owed and not. So one thing you'll see, well, one thing I just want to point out is, this is like a from last year view, but this kind of like bar right here, so it'll like automatically show you all orders. But if you want to see girl delivery orders during the initial order, or after the initial order, or all girl delivery orders, these are different views that you could toggle between to see. I know sometimes it can, if you're the type of person to want to keep track of how many girl delivery orders they received, therefore how many cookies do they need, this is a way that you can see that view. And that's something that I keep track of a lot with our Oahu ASLP girls, because they're kind of just coming in and out and we don't want to lose track. So we just want to make sure that whatever total they actually need, it will match it should match the girl orders that they're picking up from you if they're for girl delivery orders. And then, so the payments tab itself, or sorry, the payments that you're adding in is really just notifying to you how much that Girl Scout owes. It doesn't speak to anything that like it, or like in a lot of cases, like it's not anything that kind of gets pushed up to the council level. But for you all, because we hopefully will have new coordinators and some of you are new, and we're kind of just monitoring everything from, not on your same island. I do ask that you make sure that everything is accurate in terms of how many cookies are being allocated to the girl, what payments they've given to you, and things like that, so that at the end of the season, their balance is 0. That is the ultimate goal. I know all of you are really good about all of, managing all of that. But this is something that we'll want to make sure that we're all, really keeping up to date on. And then this kind of brings up the next point about anytime you're making a deposit. So let's say you end your cookie booth and you want to go to the bank, First Hawaiian Bank or Bank of Hawaii. We have our deposit slips that we'll give to you. It already includes our account information, things like that. So all you need to add in is your troop number. You would just go, so the same day that you make the deposit, you can go into the payments tab. Oh no, sorry. Go into payments tab, click plus add, choose the bank that you went to. So Bank of Hawaii or First Hawaiian Bank, put in the date that you made the deposit, reference number, if there's one on it, or anything specific to include as a comment, and then the total amount that was deposited. And then you just click save. So anytime you make a deposit with a pre-printed deposit slip, you want to make sure that you're adding that payment in as soon as possible, because our accounting team goes into every single transaction or every single deposit that's been made and goes in to verify it. So please make sure that when you're using that deposit slip, you are including your troop number. That way we can match it to all the deposits or the payments that are posted. Any questions on that? Hopefully we won't get too crazy with deposits. But yeah, we'll try to make it as easy as possible for you all. And I know on Oahu, because we have the cookie team here, we do take money from Girl Scouts individually or from advisors. So if that does happen to be the case, we can post the payment to your eBuddy. But any point, particularly when it comes to girls that are giving you money, if you can add that in right away under the girl orders tab, that would be super helpful, because sometimes like we don't get the money from an individual Girl Scout until like a week later. So this just helps to, you know, keep that accounting up to date. And then cookie buffers. As we get closer to, hopefully things will change, because we'll have a Kauai and Maui coordinator. But always just coordinate with us when you need more cookies from the buffer. Usually open after the first weekend of booths. So stay tuned for a council contact. I know some of our advisors are so amazing and just being the lead and helping coordinate with traditional troops and ASLP troops. And then for Oahu, anytime you need to swing by the buffer, please reach out to me. For Oahu particularly, we will share the schedule. Same with Maui and Kauai. But just stay tuned for when we're gonna open the buffers up and things like that. Oahu, we haven't solidified it yet. Hopefully we'll be back at Alamana. Still working with them on confirming. But so yeah, we'll know more soon. And then in the cookie volunteer manual, like I mentioned, we do have a lot of best practices, especially if you're new, recommend taking a look. But we talk about a lot on managing cookie inventory, and best practices, receipting, making weekly deposits, and just kind of everything to manage your troops cookie program. Okay, did that. Okay, and then we make it to the end of the sale. Girl Scouts did cookie booths. They met their goals. They had so much fun, grew in so many ways. And then these are the things that you'll want to do to wrap up the cookie season. You want to make sure that all the cookies are allocated. So getting your inventory to 0 is the goal. If you need to return cookies to council, we'll just coordinate with you. All money is to be deposited into council bank accounts, either Bank of Hawaii or First Hawaiian Bank. Submit your rewards options by April 5th. So some levels will have rewards options or sizes. There's things like the booth patch or Girl Scouts of Hawaii Cookie Weekend, which is on your honor system. And then rewards will arrive to council in May. I also realized I didn't go over rewards. So let me do that real quick. So it's same process for initial order rewards and final rewards. You just go to the rewards tab, you click fill out. So let's say I'm submitting for the initial order. If your any of your Girl Scouts do receive the reward, and you haven't selected a size yet, it would be in red. And if you're all good, it's in green. You could just click edit all. And then if the Girl Scout met the 250 packages initial order, you would just select their size. And again, the troop initial order reward doesn't apply. But you would just click the size if any of the Girl Scouts met the initial order rewards level. And then you just submit all girl orders. Okay. Oh, I can share that at the end, Genevieve, for sure. And then we have our Cookie Boss Patch program. We are working on getting it on the website, so hopefully that'll go up soon. We did share the Own Your Magic Path worksheet in a recent Cookie Bites. So that's at least a way to view it. But for the Own Your Magic Path, there's 2 charms that they could potentially earn. One if they meet 2 of the milestones, and then 2 charms if they did all 5 milestones. But then if you have any Girl Scouts who completed the entire challenge, then you could submit their names, and there's like a QR code that brings you to a form where you can submit all the girls' names for a chance to win a raffle. I will look into if you're getting Cookie Bites. So Cookie Bites is our e-newsletter. So Marissa, Cookie Bites. And as we're talking about a wrap up for the cookie season, has anyone yet talked to their troop about take action projects? Or is it just too early for that?
No,
I started.
girl, go for it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I started. We're still just trying to figure out what the girls want to do at our school, and trying to get my 3 troops to kind of be cohesive in a plan. So
Sounds good. Hopefully they'll get inspired this cookie season. Someone else was saying something.
Yeah, so Marissa here. The secretary last year suggested that we paint a mural on the stairs between like one level of school to the other. But then we also have Hawai'i Pride who's willing to donate a what are those? Forgive me, I don't have these back home where I'm from. The drop a book library like booths that they sit outside of buildings, sometimes the library, sometimes yeah. So we have options. The girls just have to decide. I have a couple of my juniors who are super artistic, like mocking up like a mural design so we can kind of see what we want to do, but nothing solidified.
Sounds good. That is exciting. And so take action project and an end of the year party will kind of be that culmination of celebrating all of their hard work. So I'm excited to see what everyone ends up doing. And like I mentioned, Cookie CEO. So if Girl Scouts sell 850 packages or more, will be at Quolo Ranch with a Hollywood tour and then Secret Island. So Girl Scouts from neighbor islands, we do cover them if they're a Cookie CEO. So we cover their registration fee as well as the flight. So that's always an extra fun incentive.
I volunteer as the parent involved to take the girls over. Just FYI, I volunteer.
Okay. Don't forget to remind us. We will take you up on that.
yeah, I will volunteer for Maui as we have no coordinator.
Not yet anyway.
Not yet.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
not yet.
Yeah, it's crazy to think it's only like 5 months away. It's gonna come so fast. Okay, and then these are some of the resources that I want to point out. So the Cookie Bites, hopefully everyone should be getting them. I also need to check your role. In my GS, you should either be as a troop cookie manager or co-leader. If you're in either of those roles, you should be getting Cookie Bites. And Marissa, if you're not, I will double check that you're opted in. Same for anyone else. On our website, we have a specific section, which I'll point out. I'll show you in a second. You always have cookies at gshawaii.org. But for now, for all of our Kauai, Maui, and Oahu islands, I will be your main point of contact for all things cookies. Once we have our neighbor island coordinators in, they'll be able to support you on the ground. But in the time being, just reach out to me whenever you have questions, and then we'll probably start connecting more come like beginning of January once we're back from break. Okay, I will note you down, Carla, and look at what's going on. It might be your role, but I'll look. And then for Oahu, you do have Mia as your main kind of general programs, everything point of contact. But when it comes to cookies, please reach out to me, and then we'll always loop Mia into the conversation. But this year, we're going to make sure that because I have oversight of all things cookies, it'll just help to streamline any of like the logistics, cookie pickups, eBuddy inventory things like that. Right, Genevieve, I'm glad to hear that. And then we have our cookie guides on our website. I'll show you our calendar as well, and then virtual office hours. So this is the virtual office hours that I was referring to. If any family ever wants to do, if any family ever wants to do like an individual meeting with us for like digital cookie or, you know, whatever questions they have, they can always just sign up using that link. If you all need to meet with me, just let me know and we can set up a time individually. But that could be helpful for families. And then mostly everything is on our website. So if you go to gshawaii.org, oh, okay. So we have our cookie section. If you toggle over cookies at the top, there's this section, cookie program resources. It's like anything that you need that we refer to is most likely going to be here. So you go to cookie program resources. It's broken out into different sections, but once you kind of get a feel for it, you'll kind of know where you need to look. We have our cookie calendar that you can always share with families. So this is a clickable link. And then it has all of our important dates. So all the dates that I talked about today are included in here. So you don't have to remember every single thing. This is just some things for like cookie programming. This has our cookie campaigns that we talk about. I don't know if that's working. That's not working yet, but I'll send you the worksheet. And then cookie rewards. So we have our rewards card, and then we also have like a separate Hall of Fame like worksheet that describes some of the Hall of Fame like packages. So for example, like we have our camping set in one of the Hall of Fame levels. It actually tells you what is included in that camping set instead of like keeping it super vague. And then for you all, under cookie volunteers, this section right here, if you open up and use the caret, you can see all the different guides that we have. So in the past, we haven't necessarily shared the volunteer cookie manual with you all, but this could be a really helpful resource because I am putting more on you all in terms of eBuddy. But this just goes over all of our different like policies and programmatic information on the cookie program. So if you haven't looked at it yet, I highly recommend you do that. That way you can be familiar with like any specifics. And then down here, virtual cookie selling, we have, digital cookie tip sheets for parents, which I think is super helpful. So this is an example. It's just like a written version of like how to set up digital cookie. And then there's like all similar tip sheets for all the different sections. So this is what we always try to share out in our cookie bites. Like as we're going through each step of the process, it's like, okay, here's the tip sheet for setting up. Here's a tip sheet for like my cookies, initial order entry, things like that. And then same thing, we have one for volunteers. And then our YouTube playlist too, which I'll just send you all kind of like the main resources that I think would be helpful. But under cookie training, which I don't know why it's in there, but if you click, it's like check out our GSH cookie YouTube playlist where we house all of our videos. If you click on it, we've also uploaded all of these different digital cookie, like it's similar to the tip sheets, but just in a video version, that like how to do your initial login, how to set up your site, how to market to customers. Like it's really, really helpful. And I'm actually going to be showing a lot of these videos during the family cookie program overview, just because it literally like walks you through step by step. So I would recommend, like, if your parents are asking you a lot of questions, you can point them to either one of the resources that could be helpful, whether it's like the YouTube short videos or the written step by step. But yeah, that is about it. I know there's a lot of information. But any questions before we wrap up?
When you change my status, I guess, or my title, whatever you call it, sorry,